late night talk show host Jimmy Kimmel was painting Republicans on the Senate Judiciary Committee as the bad guys because, you know what? They asked Biden's Supreme Court nominee, Ketanji Brown Jackson, questions about her record and what she said and done. I mean, I guess that's kind of what a confirmation hearing is supposed to be about. Well, let's bring in our company to react, the host of the Gorka Reality Check right here on Newsmax, Sebastian Gorka, and the author of the brand new book, Eternally Cancel Proof, the host of the Stacey on the Right show on SiriusXM, Stacey Washington. Good to see you both. Seb, I want to start with you. Yeah, that clip was from Jimmy Kimmel. I get it. It's a late night show, but I think it's pretty reflective of how the media has covered this hearing. They, the Democrats don't question her. They talk about how historic it is and how proud they are of her and how, they're just excited that she's there. And Republicans are bad people because they're asking her about what she has said, her record, how she has ruled, which, as far as I'm concerned, that's kind of what you do in a nomination hearing. So I'm really not sure, how this is, it's just interesting how this is being portrayed when, frankly, even the Constitution calls it the advice and consent role of the Senate.
Well, look, Sean, I think you missed the point here. You're not allowed to ask questions if the nominee is a Democrat who actually worked on the Obama campaign as Judge Ketanji Brown did. You're not allowed to ask questions from somebody who allegedly is supposed to be so super smart but doesn't know what a woman is despite herself being a woman and can't tell you where life begins. That's not allowed. If the nominee is a Republican, nominated by a Republican, you can accuse him of being a serial rapist who drugged women, or you can ask him what proofing is because you don't understand a slang word for flatulence. So it tells you utterly just how politicized this process has become, and that this woman, I wouldn't trust this woman to walk my dog if she doesn't know what a woman is.
Stacey, the funny part about this is I don't recall that kind of behavior or coverage when either Kavanaugh or Coney Barrett was up, right? It was almost encouraged by the media. They were like, wow, they're really getting to the bottom of their record and they're really going after them. I mean, the NBCs and the Washington Post had no concerns about, or late night for that matter, about how the Democrats were going after them or their personal lives when this stuff was coming up. It's just interesting how they're approaching the coverage of this. One is historic, the other is very welcomed.
Well, Sean, this is what I thought. Over the weekend, I was stealing myself because I said, Judge Ketanji Brown, double Harvard graduate, a lawyer, comes from a distinguished family of public servants. She sees Senator Marsha Blackburn, Senator Ted Cruz. They're tweeting about some of the issues that they're going to be asking her about. They're actually telegraphing some of the questions she should expect. So she's spending the weekend prepping. She's going to come in there armored up with facts and figures on her sentencing guidelines and how often she was with, above or below what the prosecutors requested in these child pornography cases. She's going to come and she's going to represent this historic nomination in a way that will completely obliterate all of the accusations about her that she's an affirmative action diversity pick. Instead, she couldn't tell us what a woman was. She couldn't tell us whether or not she said the quote about critical race theory being so integral to children's education. She couldn't even talk about the curriculum at the school where she sits on the board. And as a sitting board member of a couple of organizations, I can tell you, I am familiar with what we're promoting because I'm on that board and that's a part of what I do. So she really did not discharge herself well in front of a watching, waiting world who we wanted to see her perform. I don't agree with her ideologically, but if she's going to come in as someone who is well qualified and she's supposed to be this amazing opportunity for us as Americans to have on our Supreme Court, then she should come out with her sword armed up, shiny, and ready to pounce on every question to show that she's really qualified to do this job. And I was disappointed. I'm tired of them talking about who she is, her characteristics. She's a woman, or maybe not, since she doesn't know what women are. And she's Black. And we happen to have the same hair. We both have sister locks. So I was thinking to myself, there's got to be something I can find to say nice about this chick. But she really angered me yesterday with that lackluster performance.
You know, beyond her performance, Sean and I were talking about this earlier. Seb, do you feel like the senators, Republican senators, are doing a good job of asking great questions, not just any question, but great questions to get the most out of Ketanji Brown Jackson?
You know, I'm not really satisfied after what they did to that, God-fearing, decent individual, Brett Kavanaugh. I don't see why we behave as if the Marquis of Queensberry rules only apply when a Democrat is in the hot seat. I love the questions they asked, but there was no follow-up. As my good friend Chris Plant said on his radio show this morning, and I want to give him full credit, when she can't tell you what a woman is, despite the fact that Biden said, I'm picking a nominee that is going to be a black woman, and she doesn't know that. So the next question has to be, okay, Judge Brown, how many genders are there? Can you tell us that? You've got to make them look absurd and let the world see them for the political hacks they are. I don't care what school she went to. She's not smart if she doesn't know what a woman is, or she's lying. And let's not forget, she is under oath. She is a sworn nominee under oath. And she says, I don't know what CRT is, but I give speeches about it. I don't know when life is, but we have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And I don't know what a woman is. You are lying, Judge Brown, and you should never be in a court unless you are in the dock of the court.
Stacey, I do want to play a clip from CNN talking about Senator Ted Cruz and Marsha Blackburn and their line of questioning. Listen to this.
Ted Cruz promised that he would not allow a political circus to take place, and he was a clown.
It's amazing to watch someone who is quite frankly, an intellectual giant be questioned by people who have really no idea about the law and what judges actually do, Laura.
Okay, so these are sitting senators, and obviously Ted Cruz is a lawyer. Blackburn isn't. But the interesting thing is here, Stacey, it does seem like Republicans have spent a lot of time airing their grievances about past Supreme Court justice hearings, how they have been handled. Instead of going really, really tough, as Seb was talking about, are you happy with what you've heard from Republicans?
Well, I think Senator Blackburn asked tough questions, so did Ted Cruz. But when Seb talks about the follow-ons, that's where the money is made. That's actually where you can take apart the positioning of someone or the lack of position, because we're supposed to think as Americans that Judge Brown Jackson doesn't have any judicial philosophy when we know that she does. And in the questions that she refused to answer, she presented her judicial philosophy of a far left-wing ideologue, who's someone who really is too radical to be on the Supreme Court. And I hope that the senators are considering not allowing her to come out of committee and forcing President Biden to submit another less radical judge to be his left-wing, fill-in for the vacancy.
Right.
But they didn't go hard enough. I don't care what kind of circus they're trying to avoid. I rather care more that they would press this woman as hard as they would any other candidate, stop looking at her characteristics, and put the screws to her in the most judicial manner, because the advise and consent process has never been a non-circus. No one's ever promised anything about it except that it's going to be rigorous.
Stacey, appreciate your input. All really solid. I'm sure we're going to get a lot more of this before it's over. Thank you both.
Thank you,
guys.